So there is some positive noise around Walgreens right now. JP Morgan actually has very positive guidance for a third quarter earnings beat. But Andy, you're seeing kind of different in purchase intent data, a slight divergence I'm seeing possibly. Walgreens stock kind of taking a beating lately. What are you seeing with Walgreens?
Yeah, the stock's getting hit pretty good, and our data is pretty reflective of that in terms of purchase intent data for Walgreens is showing, what I would call just kind of a slow and steady decline. So this is people talking about actually shopping at Walgreens stores. And you can see after that peak in 2017, which came on the heels of year-over-year increases consistently, we've seen decreases ever since that. And a big reason for that is being driven by their beauty products and that Boots Alliance acquisition and brands that they have. And so when we look into that kind of skincare line and beauty line at Walgreens, what we're seeing is a significant decline year over year after many years of ramping up. And so essentially what we're coming away with on this is, Walgreens is losing their big bet. Their big bet was on beauty. It was on makeup, but they're losing to the Ultas of the world. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Would you rather go get your makeup from a company that has Kylie Jenner putting out new palettes, or go to the company where your grandpa goes to get his laxatives?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm almost a grandpa. No,
no, you're not there yet, Kevin.
Here's my thing, Andy. Walgreens Boots Alliance isn't in every town, right? But in Chicago, where we all live, you cannot hit a full sandwich without hitting a Walgreens Boots Alliance. They're everywhere, right? So my point is, they have scale. At least in the areas that they're in, their scale is enormous. So if they get it right, if they get a product right, or bring Rite Aid in and get the prescription model right from them, is this a level where people can get in? Morgan Stanley thinks so, right? Is this a level that, I don't mind buying a stock with bad news as long as all the bad news is out and it's priced in.
Yeah, I agree with that. But what I'm seeing is that there's no reason to believe the premise of if they get it right. We don't have any data yet that says they're getting it right. In fact, it's just the opposite. It looked like they were getting it right for a few years going into 2017, but they've really reversed course on the skincare and beauty line, and that's definitely hurting them, putting a drag on the stock and the company as a whole.
Now, Andy, if you look at purchase intent data for CVS, are you seeing it in a more positive tone at all, or is it very similar to Walgreens? Because if you look at the charts, their charts kind of tell the same picture.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I think that both of these types of pharmacies have a lot of challenges ahead of them, and not least of which is, there's some indication that Amazon's getting into the prescription fulfillment business. There's a lot more that you can do online and through the mail than you used to be able to do. And so that hurts these types of companies, because they really, they get you into the back of the store for your prescriptions, but it's at the front of the store that their high margin items are. And so they really need people walking into the store to make money, and they're having a hard time getting people to do that.
It's funny that, go ahead, Kevin.
I'd like to know if we do a test of how many stocks correlated from they're beat up, right? And they're beat up because of Amazon. How often do we mention Amazon? Can we get to a show without mentioning a beat-up stock that's not affected from Amazon?
On the retail side, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all. Or it's had some effect on
it's amazing.
Their results.
Now, I have to say, though, Walgreens Online has done a good job kind of transforming. I actually just set up my prescriptions to get delivered. Like you said, I'm not going in the stores, but I was thinking what a great feature this is, and I kind of saw this echoed on social media today. So our first tweet, it says, Walgreens becoming interesting, but will have to prove itself before I jump in. Good dividend, but would want to have more confidence the bottom is in. On watch. So if you look at their chart, they are so far off. They're 86 high. They're at 40, right on 52 right now. How do you trade a company like that?
But actually, that's a pretty good call there with, with a 10-year yield just at 2%, you got a 3.3% dividend yield here. There's one reason, if you believe in the company.
With the slide that we've seen and the numbers that you're talking about, down from 86 down to 50, and it held support according to Mike Fairborn's technical analysis there, and it's really getting low on an RSI, relative strength indicator. You better watch it to the upside, because if they beat or guide anything that's in line, you'll probably see maybe a short squeeze or something like that to the upside.
Just remember, 24 hours ago, we were talking about Micron with no good news. Zero good news about Micron and going forward, and look what they did.
Yep.
Strong earnings.
Yes.
Boosted the stock.
Different business, remember that?
Exactly.
Yes,
But what I'm saying is stocks get beat up and they get over beat up and they hold like this one has. And, good companies that are beat up is a nice way to trade.
Yeah.
And there is a matter of brand loyalty. I mean, people on Twitter are super loyal to either their CVS or their Walgreens, and they do seem to have this loyalty to these companies. So our next tweet is from Moonshot, who says, if Amazon would disrupt this market, that would be very negative for CVS Health and Walgreens Boots Alliance, right? So this goes into our Amazon conversation. But here's the thing is, Andy, I don't think these companies are going away, because as long as my healthcare provider is giving me insurance at Walgreens, I'm going to keep going to Walgreens, correct?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, it reminds me a little bit of when Amazon got into the grocery business and everybody freaked out, or when they got into the food delivery business and everybody freaked out. These types of things can scare an industry, and I agree with Kevin that, maybe Walgreens, you could definitely make an argument that this thing's oversold. But at the same time, Amazon gets in there, it punches down on beaten up industries all the time, and not always does that end up coming to fruition. You got to remember, they tried to launch a phone. They haven't done really anything in grocery that hurts Kroger or any of the others at all. And so a lot of times there's a lot of hype around Amazon's ability to enter industries, but some of these industries are very, very tough to break into. They have very loyal customer bases, Jenny, like you're talking about, and it is difficult to make a big shift over time. And with Walgreens, what we're seeing is that their bet on beauty just hasn't paid off, but the core company is fine. The pharmacy is fine. The actual store is fine. It's just they made a bad bet, and now shareholders are paying the price.